It was farmland. So all the slopes and stuff you see, that used to be a flat piece of property before Mike Young got a hold of it.
Wow, we went
Yes.
crazy on it.
That's a lot of dirt.
It's
It was
crazy.
flat.
Welcome to the ATL Golfs podcast.
Everyone, welcome back to the ATL Golfs podcast. This is episode 5, and we are covering Heritage Golf Links. We are joined by Kevin Woodruff, the general manager of Heritage Golf Links, and of course, the host and co-host with the most, Joe over there on the far right side. So yeah, welcome Kevin, welcome Joe.
Thank you for having it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Kevin. I'm gonna keep using this soundboard every chance I get, Andrew. Just so you know. So just get ready
Yeah.
for some more of that. Kevin,
The caffeine
thanks
I
so much.
need.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us, man. Just maybe tell us a little bit about your history with golf, kind of your background, how you ended up with Heritage, just to kind of give people a little picture of who Kevin is.
Yeah. So history of golf. I started playing back in high school. Won the region championship my senior year. Went down and played 2 years of golf at Andrew College down in Cuthbert, Georgia. And then after that, got out of school, got into the business back home, which home's down in Thomaston, just south of Griffin. From there, I ended up over in Alabama for a few years, working at a city course over there. Got out of the business for 4 or 5 years and moved to Atlanta about 12 years ago. Got back in it. Started off at Heritage running their outside services and have just worked my way up through, and now I'm general manager of the property. So, I've been on all aspects of the business, from cart guy to assistant pro to head pro to permit director, membership director, and beverage
whoa,
director, everything. So,
Done it all.
yeah,
Done it all.
it's fun to have your hands in all of it.
Well, it makes you a better GM because you can actually relate to what the other people are doing and what the expectations are, and it's not just sort of arbitrary expectations. Like, no, I was there, I've done it, so I know
yeah.
what you can do and what you maybe shouldn't do.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I
Well,
love
thanks
that.
for that, Kevin. Andrew, so let's get into this. Maybe give us some of the boilerplate here about Heritage, and then we'll get going into our review here.
Okay. Obviously we're the ATL Golfs podcast, and so Heritage Golf Links is only about 20 miles, 30 minutes, I'd say, on a good day. Probably give yourself 45 minutes if you're leaving from in town. But it's got 3
If
courses.
it's 5 o'clock, it's 2 hours, but just don't do that.
Yeah, if it's 5 o'clock, you're already late to your tee time. You might as well just go home.
Exactly.
But it features 3 courses. You've got the Legacy, which is a par 36. It's got 2 par 3s, 5 par 4s, then 2 par 5s. Up next is going to be Heritage. It's going to be a par 36 as well. 2 par 3s, 5 par 4s, 2 par 5s. So really even there. And then we've also got Tradition, the ugly little stepsister. A par 35 with 3 par 3s, 4 par 4s, and 2 par 5s.
Well, we'll just say so long to Tradition. So Kevin, before we go any further, just speak on maybe a little bit I know you announced on social media that Tradition will be closing up, but what's kind of the maybe quick little backstory there?
Yeah, we just, as a management, me and the owner, we just decided that we were going to shut Tradition down. We spent between $5 and $6 million renovating the Legacy and Heritage Nines, and we just really want to concentrate on that piece of property, that 18 holes, to give golfer on the east side of Atlanta a upscale public facility to play at. There's really not one over there on that side of town, so we want to concentrate, and we've done a lot with not just the renovations of the course, the upgrade of the golf cart, and got a few more things that we're going to be doing over the next 12 to 18 months. But we just really want to focus on the Legacy and Heritage Nines to give the golfer a great experience.
So when officially does Tradition close out?
December 1st.
December
Oh,
1st.
wow.
So for any Tradition stands out there, you got a couple weeks left to get it in, and then it'll be gone for the foreseeable future, I suppose. So, cool. Sorry to interrupt, Andrew.
No, you're
I think
fine.
next is what? Pricing.
Yeah, pricing. A weekday 18, it gets super dynamic out there. Pricing varies crazy. So after 3 p.m., it's about $30. Squeeze what you can in. After 1 p.m., it'll be around $45, and then before 1 p.m. during the weekday, it'll be around $55 to $60. On the weekends, it's pretty similar. From the after 3 p.m., it's $35. Then around after 1 p.m., it's around $70. And then before 1 p.m., it's either a $76 hot deal or $90 for a normal tea time before then.
And
But
you mentioned dynamic, but Kevin here is the one that actually monitors things and makes those changes. It's not AI. It's KW.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully, we're not having to do a whole lot of that now when we stay to that legacy heritage rotation. And hopefully going to that 18 holes, I mean, we're filling up pretty quick on the weekends.
Yeah, it's nice. What's kind of your methodology as far as when you're going in, checking on things, making price adjustments? Do you kind of have a rule of thumb or something that you follow, or what's kind of your process?
Well, one thing I always do is do have some membership levels at Heritage. My most popular is called my loyalty club. With that membership, it's just a one-time fee, and they get $20 off the prime rate, 10 off the afternoon, $5 off the twilight. So my biggest rule when adjusting rates is you never go below a member rate for public. So I will never discount something below whatever the highest rate my members are paying. So that's the main thing I look at, because as a member, you paid me to have these discounts. And once you start discounting below that, what's the point of having members? So
100%.
that's my key on what we do there.
Nice.
And there's been times when we get busy, the rate might go up. There's one time left on golf now, it might turn into $100 tee time. That's the supply and demand could be there.
Right.
We've tried that in the past and it's worked. So.
Makes sense. Speaking of membership, we actually don't typically talk about that too much, but since you brought it up, what are some of the membership tiers or options that the golfers, if they're on that side of town, might be interested to know more about?
Yeah. So my all-in memberships, I have two that we just relaunched. Monday through Friday is a $4,000 membership. It's called my associate, and that gets you one free round of golf every day, Monday through Friday, and a bucket of balls Monday through Friday. So for four grand, you get playing fees Monday through Friday with cart, one round, and a bucket of balls on that day, on every day of the week. So then my platinum is $5,500 for the year, and that includes 7 days a week, one round of golf, your range ball, one bucket of range balls per day, whatever size you want. And then if you play an additional round that day, besides your free, you get half off retail. And I just opened back up my Heritage Club, which we topped it off. We had a few people cancel, so I just opened that back up. I have about 6 more of these available. It's $169.99 per month. Gives you 2 free rounds of golf, a bucket of balls every day, small, medium, or large, whatever you choose. And then after your 2 free rounds, you pay half price retail. So the way I explain this and the way I sell, especially my Heritage Club, if you hit one bucket of balls, a large bucket's $18. So we can do the quick math. 10 of those a month's 180, and I'm giving you 2 free rounds of golf. So it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Great
the loyalty
deal.
club, runs March 1st to February 28th. Right now, this year is $40, but we will be going up $80 on that next year. But again, if you play 4 times in a year, you break even. So it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
Do all these rounds include cart?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
At Heritage, we don't do cart fee, green fees. We call it all a playing fee. So you can choose to walk or ride. It's all the same price.
Yeah, that's super worth it.
Cool. Well, I think that's a good time to hop into our ratings here. For those that might be new to the program, our course rankings and how we do this is all handicap based off of price points, as well as public versus, we don't compare public courses versus private courses. We don't compare, executive courses with full par 72s or par 3s, etc. So we really try, when we're ranking things, everything is handicapped based off of the style of course and then the price point that you can play at. And so just know for any angry comments that are, if we give it a great score and you come at us and say, well, it's not as good as Peachtree. Well, yeah, we're not comparing it against Peachtree Golf Club. All right. If you want to go play Peachtree, go for it. We can talk, but just so everyone understands. So let's go ahead and jump in. We'll start off with a conversation about the layout. And actually, before we dive into our rankings here, Kevin, you kind of alluded to it previously. There's been a huge upgrade and changes that the course has gone through regarding the layout, where amount of bunkers, where bunkers were, greens, etc. So maybe before we jump in, maybe tell us a little bit about the reasoning behind that and what all went into it.
Yeah. So the original, Mike Young was the original architect. A guy named Maury White was the original guy who built the property. The stories I've been told was he was building Heritage, his buddy was building Hawks Ridge, and they were going back and forth to see who could build the hardest golf course. And at the time, Heritage was very hard. A lot of the bunkers were not for your everyday public golfer. A lot of them didn't make sense where they were. The slopes on them didn't make sense. So what we went in and did was, there's not an original bunker left on the golf course. We put bunkers in some of the spots where original bunkering was, but we took out over half of the bunkers. All the original are gone. We put back in about half of what was there. Eased the slopes, made it a lot more what I would call user-friendly for the public golfer. We do get those 20 handicappers, and before, the way the course was set up, it turns into a 30 handicapper. And now with the new design, we open up a lot of the front of the greens where the older golfer can run the ball up on the green and still have a fun experience. We don't go pay $90 to get beat up. You don't want to feel like you were in a boxing match when you leave the golf course. You want to have fun.
That's what I used to feel at Legacy 9, at least. Dude, I hated it.
It used to be top 4, top 5 slope rating in the state of Georgia when it first opened. It's a hard golf course.
Yeah.
And I think we made it a lot more user-friendly, more playable, and makes your experience just even better.
How does that slope rating get changed, by the way? Because still when you look it up on the different apps and whatnot, it's from the blues, it's still a 141 slope rating, but I'm assuming that's taking into account the previous bunkering and whatnot. How does that even get updated?
It is. We just got our final rating on the Legacy 9 about 3 weeks ago. They had already did Heritage, but now we have that combined. It's on the GN website. The new rating is on GN and GSGA. I just have to reach out to all these apps. There's 1,000 apps now that have our rating, and I just have to figure out who all to send the new information to. But yes, everything is updated on GN and GSGA's website for us.
Nice, good deal.
That's awesome.
All right, well let's get into it. Andrew, kick us off, man. What do you think about the layout at Heritage?
I think everyone's gonna hate me for this, but I love Quirk, and so I think Heritage Golf Links has all of that. Knowing it's a Mike Young design just makes sense, right? But I love the undulation. I love the uneven lies, and so you hit a ball out there, it might be perfect, and you end up in a weird lie. I think that's fun. I think that's part of golf. It's the challenge. You're not hitting off a mat every time. You shouldn't be in a flat lie every time, I think. It's just how it is. So I loved it. I thought it was like a solid 7. Kind of above average. I had a lot of fun when I was out there, especially the new Legacy 9. I used to get torn up out there. It did feel like a boxing match. So definitely like what you guys have done, and it makes it way more enjoyable. I had way more fun than I usually do when I play there. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, a couple things that stick out to me. When I'm doing layout ratings, one of my go-tos is looking at the variety of par 3s. and I really appreciated the variety that you got there. So that first par three is the short one, downhill wedge. It's a nice, comfortable, and then the next one is that long one, which is another long one. But this one's downhill, and so for me, I was playing, I think, a 6 iron from the blues or so, and then you have the long uphill one. So that's where most people are probably hitting hybrid 4 iron. So again, you're going from a mid iron to a long or even hybrid, and then you finish out with another kind of wedge shot. If I had to critique, I would say, there's not one of those, and some of it depends on the pin location. I could see probably the fourth one, pulling out more of a pitching or a 9 iron, but I think the same wedge on 4 as I did on 1. A little bit different experience, but still hit the same club. But it really felt, each par 3 kind of had its own feel, and I really appreciated that. Really liked the opener. Felt like a gettable. I love a gettable par 5 on an opener or a closer, and so that felt like a good way to kind of get ease into the round. And then the finisher, it's a pretty hole. It's a hard hole. And I go back and forth on hard versus gettable finishers, because on the one hand, if I'm watching, if I'm watching like the pros, I'm like, I want that last hole to be tough because I want them to be sweating it. But when I'm playing, I kind of want a gettable one that isn't going to stress me out too much and doesn't ruin a round for me if I'm trying to break 80 or save a round and break 90. So I kind of go back and forth, but it is a really pretty hole. Enjoyed that. I would say one other thing, I liked Heritage a bit more than Legacy. I found it to be a bit more scenic. You got the downhill and then uphill back-to-back par 5s, which is just kind of a cool thing that just, for me, it stuck out as memorable. You got water around, either in play or just around for aesthetics and looks on, I think, 5 of the holes on that back 9. So I really enjoyed that. Taking a look at the layout versus kind of the price point and that sort of thing, I would actually go maybe a notch higher. I think I might even go like 7.5 or even push an 8. I
Oh
really
wow.
enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of variety, had some quirk like you mentioned as well. I think I'd probably stick at 7.5, mainly just because of hitting that same club on the 2 par 3s. But either way, I really enjoyed myself out there for sure.
100%
So
fair.
yeah, Kevin, any thoughts on our thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I love the par threes. Like the last one you're talking about, Heritage 7/number 16. That's a deep green, so that you can go from a sand wedge to a 9 iron if we put that pin back left. And number 3 is just a great hole to me. It's a good short par 3 to start your round. You're not pulling a 4 iron out on the 3rd hole. It gets you comfortable. I love that green. We put that pin front left. You see a lot of hole-in-ones. We call that the hole-in-one pin. It's just a fun hole. It's a lot better now too without that deep bunker on the front right. We slope ease that bunker a little bit, and it's just, to me, it's just a good hole. It's a good little short par 3. And number 5, we all know number 5s can be a beast, but at least it's downhill.
I love number 5.
Yes, I love that hole.
It's beautiful.
You get back there to that gold tee box, and it really is a beast.
No.
Yeah, we didn't go all the way back to the goals. We knew better. Stick that
I
one out.
tried my hardest. I tried my hardest to get that tee box bulldozed when we were doing the renovation. I was like, "Don't we need some more dirt somewhere? We need dirt somewhere. Let's get rid of that tee box." At the end of the day, there's not many people who need to be playing back there. There's really
That's
not.
like a
You can
3
go-
wood for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually hit driver on that hole before, depending on the wind. I mean,
With the wind.
it's
Yeah.
the Heritage number 2s. Heritage number 2, there's a lot of good changes on that hole. There used to be some bunkers 40 yards short, 30 yards, 40 yards short. And if wind was blowing, people get in that bunker. And I mean, it's a tough shot for the pros. And again, we took those out, making it a little bit more user friendly for people not to have to hit a 40-yard bunker shot. Who likes to hit that? Not me.
Anything that's
Yeah,
more
I mean-
interesting than regular, like good golf, I guess. I don't know for me. But let's jump into
cool.
pace. I thought, you
Okay.
know, Joe, if you want to start off with that.
Pace is so hard because it's so anecdotal. I feel like on our day it was great, but it's also the only time I've played Heritage, and
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know if that's the case on weekends or whatever. I feel like nowadays weekends, if your expectations going into a weekend round in Atlanta golf where the tee sheet's packed out, if you're going there expecting to get a sub 4 hour round in, that's your problem. That's just poor expectation management on yourself. I feel like I don't remember how long ours lasted, but I felt like it was pretty reasonable. Felt like we weren't waiting, comfortable pace throughout. So, but I know you've played there a couple extra times than me, Andrew. So, didn't know if you had a different take.
Yeah, totally agree with you. If you're going into the weekend tee time and you think you're going to play in less than 4 hours, I mean, you're dreaming. But other than that,
you better be the first. You better be the first tee time out if you want to play.
that's the only way. But I've played plenty of times during the weekdays, and during like prime times, like 11 a.m. Also like 4 p.m. I've done the twilight tee times. Never really had an issue. The round will finish in about 4 hours. I'm never really waiting for too long. I'd give it like a solid 5.5 to a 6, because I think it is better than most. And I've seen marshals out there and tell people to hurry up or pick it up plenty of times, which I always appreciate. Nothing is worse than you're sitting and waiting for forever for 25 minutes between shots and you never see a marshal come out and say anything. I think that drives me nuts because I'm not the guy to call the pro shop and raise hell for someone else. My expectation is that they should be doing their job and I shouldn't have to tell them to do their job.
Yeah, that's fair. And actually, your ranking just made me think of something I didn't set up correctly when I was explaining how we rank. So a 5 out of 10 is basically bang average expectation. Anything above a 5 is value or good. Anything below 5 is poor, essentially. So I didn't set that up correctly. So you saying, 6 out of 10, it means it's above average. It's a good value. You're getting basically a little bit more than maybe what you would expect on a typical, record.
$70 to $90 rate. Yeah. Well, and I totally think I've paid $90 and not seen a single marshal or a starter before. And so, to know that Heritage has the staff and they're sending them out and you're seeing them, I think that's important.
Definitely. Again, I only played it once, so my experience was probably higher, probably more like a 7. And especially you're talking about your Rangers where you can pay more and get, not as good a service. Yeah, I might bump that a little bit more as well, just to get, that's what you want. That's all. That's almost all you can ask for, essentially. So
I think as the podcast goes, my ranking and my ratings have gotten more critical and maybe a little bit more reserved, I think.
Okay. That's why we give context. We're not just giving numbers. So
100%.
Kevin, I know one thing that is not a hot topic, but definitely a topic of discussion is, how courses manage pace. What are things? So what are some things you guys do or have done to kind of help keep things moving and keeping folks happy?
Yeah, so I mean, we all know if you look at reviews for Heritage, it's pace of play, pace of play, pace of play. Prior management companies we've had, they ran the property. We've always been around 8-minute tee times. And I've had some management companies who would make me squeeze a tee time every hour, every 2 hours just to generate green fee revenue. And that's where you got into your 5.5, 6 hour rounds. With my new owner, we started 10-minute tee times about a year ago, and that's helped out a lot. And with our new fleet of carts, we have the GPS units in them. So we have a TV in our pro shop that when you walk in, you see it. So we have the eye in the sky. We're watching you. It turns your cart number will be yellow when you go 5 to 8 minutes behind pace of play. It turns red once you fall 8+ minutes behind. You can marshals right around with an iPad they have this technology to be able to watch and see where the holdup is. And we also can, from the pro shop, I can send a message directly to your golf cart, and you have to acknowledge it. I'll let you know you're behind pace of play. If you don't pick up, we will make you skip a hole. You have to acknowledge it. It makes a big beeping noise That's very loud and annoying. And your golf cart will not move until you acknowledge that you've seen that alert.
That's
So
awesome.
the technology,
That's
the
great.
technology is awesome.
Yeah.
Having the TV in the pro shop that lets you know that we're watching. I mean, as soon as you check in, you can see it, and it helps. It really does. And being able to get in touch with the golf cart from the pro shop, and then my marshal having the iPad to be able to ride around and know where the hot spots are. We all pretty much know where they are by now. Uh, and one thing we did going back to the layout of the golf course on Legacy number 1, that's your starting hole. We took out the big long fairway bunker that was down by the driving range and took out a couple more fairway bunkers. Before you got in those bunkers, it could take 25, 30 minutes to play that golf hole. If it takes the group 30 minutes to play the first hole, and then number 2's wasn't an easy hole, we moved that green a little farther left to open it up. It's a play's done. If it takes you 45 minutes to play the first 2 holes, we're done. And now we've been averaging 4.5 hours on the weekends. Some days it gets a little slower, but at the end of the day, our pace of play has improved a lot. And some of the comments we see on Instagram and social media about pace of play is horrible. Well, I ask people, when's the last time you played? It was 3-4 years ago. That's 8-minute tee times and a 4-minute squeeze every 2 hours. Yes. But now we have seen a big change in our pace of play.
That's great.
I didn't know.
Love that.
It makes a noise. That's awesome. I've never experienced it.
It
That's
just
why.
makes a big buzzing noise. It's awful to hear.
That's
And
awesome.
Andrew, it's a
Yeah, it's a
you
good
don't
thing
have
I've
to
never
know.
experienced that.
Yeah.
As a 20+ handicap, I've never experienced that. So you guys can all do
Hey.
it. Trust me.
Andrew, you live by the rule. If you're gonna play bad, play fast. So what about Hey, love it. Love it. Excellent. Well, let's go on to tee boxes. Andrew, this is your passion, so I'll let you kick things off with your tee box ranking for Heritage.
Yeah, this is where I'm more critical. I think, if I'm paying $70 to $90, I expect some evenness. Legacy was obviously great with the tee boxes. I think some of the tee boxes on Heritage could have been a little bit better. There were some times where I felt like I was raised up a little bit. I'm like super sensitive to that stuff on my feet. I'm like sensory issues or whatever it is, I guess. And so I just give it, I think it's a solid 5. It's average. Because anything below a 5 would be terrible, right? Or super annoying. But I think 5 is average. It's not the biggest gripe in the world. But yeah, pretty much a 5 from me. It's nothing that I was like looking down and being like, the hell is this? It's more of just like, all right, cool. This is decent. This is enough. But
Yeah. I guess this is gonna be our theme. I'm gonna go a notch higher, and my main reason is because for me, yes, you, and it's fine. This is why it's opinions. You've definitely huge value on evenness. For me, yes, evenness is important, but I've been to so many courses where, it's just not cut short, or there's just not grass, and so that's kind of my baseline. Is it cut short? Is there grass? Is it relatively even, right? And there's even some, I think aesthetically it's decent. You got obviously letting it grow up around the edges and cutting it short there. So it kind of looks nice as the tee boxes sort of stand out from the rest of the course. I'm excited. I know when we were out there, Kevin, you mentioned that you guys are gonna be updating the tee markers soon.
Yes.
And love a little aesthetic touch, and that would be the only thing keeping it probably a little bit evenness stuff that you're mentioning there. And then I know that, in fact, I also remember you mentioning there's some aesthetic things that you guys are working on with some of the tee boxes and kind of rehabilitating those. And so aesthetics were kind of just typical tee boxes, nothing special. So I think I'd probably go a little above average, just because I felt like every single one was cut short. There's plenty of grass. I never felt like I was hitting off of dirt, deadpan, whatever. Always had something to tee up on. They weren't hard as a rock like some tee boxes are at some other spots. So I think I'd give it a solid 6, maybe even 6.5. But that's why we have good balance there. So Kevin,
Oh, 6'7".
You
No,
clocked it
no,
right away. You clocked it.
no lie, no lie. Someone mentioned recently, like, does Andrew do it on purpose? 6'7", like, and I was like, I don't. Maybe it's a secret. I don't think so. I think he's just
No, it's just such
you're
a
raking
when you're rating from 1 through 10, 6, 7 is so like it's
it
so like
happen.
on the mark, you know? Like some places, like if you're rating things, like they say you can't do a 6 or a 7. Like you really have to say it because it's such a cop out sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah, but I would say I'm kind of right there at that. I'd give it like a solid 6, maybe 6.5. So
Yeah, I mean,
cool. Kevin,
sweet.
what were some of those you meant? I forget which tee box it was. Maybe it was
Heritage number 4,
4.
a little short par 3 on the back.
Mhm.
That back tee box was actually the construction entrance when we were doing all the construction work. So we will be redoing that tee. There's a couple more that we're going to be redoing, flattening out. And this comes back to like closing tradition. There's a lot of good sod over there that we can go get, come back
Mhm.
over and use it on some tee boxes and some approaches on Legacy and Heritage to get more grass, make that just a better piece of property. That's another reason why tradition is going away, because we can use a lot of the tools from over there, bring them to this side of the property. Like I said, adjust some tee boxes, flatten some tee boxes out, and it just gives us the ability to have more maintenance hours on the 218 instead of having to send somebody to cut greens, rake bunkers. So the overall appearance of Legacy and Heritage every day is going to look a lot better once we get that shut down. And the tee markers Joe was talking about, as a lot of people have seen, we go into a tractor logo as an alternate logo. So coming in the spring, there you go. Good looking hoodie.
Yeah, I
Coming in
have
the
to rep it.
spring, we have tee markers being made that will be the tractor logo. So it's going to add another cool little piece to the Heritage.
Yeah, because for me, like ranking tee boxes, like there's the basics, but then what if I'd imagine what is a 10 out of 10 tee box, for a 70-ish, $75. It's just all right. You got the basics, and then it's the little stuff, right? Is what are the aesthetic touches? What are the tee markers? Different things like that you end up looking for. So that's gonna be great. And I think when we were talking, I think it was it 13, that back tee also that you guys are
Yeah, it's
working on?
13
Yeah.
Heritage 4. Yeah. Yeah. That whole, there's some rock flower beds around there too. We're going to be adding a pop of color. And then down by the lake between Heritage 3 and Heritage 5 green, that little flower bed, we're going to do some cool stuff in there come springtime as well. Just because that's like the focal point when you're sitting on the back patio overlooking the lake. And we're going to add some stuff in there to make it more of a focal point.
Nice. I love some aesthetics, some
Yeah.
beauty.
I mean, it's just a little color can change the difference in what a golf course looks like.
Sweet.
Great. Well, let's go on to fairways. I mean, from my end of things, I felt like I
It
never
was fairway.
fairways, they were fairways.
Yeah.
Fairways are fairways, and you got some rough on the outside that and some holes were pretty damaging, pretty harmful. I forget which one it was. I think it was maybe 9 coming in on the right hand side where the big moguls are. Like that area, that rough is brutal. But if you're in the fairway, I felt like it was good grass. You're hitting nice little divots. Yeah, not really too much to say one with the other. I thought they were solid. 8,
That's what
7,
yeah.
8, something there. Yeah, 8. I thought they were good. Not 6, 7, 7, 8.
No, I totally agree. I think 8 is solid. Fairways were fairways, but they were, cut short. They were nice. They were firm, which I always appreciate. And so, yeah, solid 8. I didn't think there were too many divots. It looks like your grounds crew is going out there filling divots. Seems like most members are filling divots too, or just players in general. So can't complain about it.
And that gets back to when you're running 8-minute tee times, you're putting a lot more golfers out on the golf course. You're running 10-minute tee times. you lose about 5 or 6 tee times a day, which is 24 players, which is 24 divots. It adds up. It
Yeah.
helps keep your tee boxes, keep your fairways, keep your greens with pitch marks. It all is just a full circle of what less play out can do to your golf
Sometimes
course.
you got guys like Andrew, and they'll take out 2 divots in 1 hole.
I always fix my stuff. I always fix it. I fix other people's divots sometimes.
I know.
I play fast and I fix divots.
Yeah, I know.
Anything.
Sometimes you're second, sometimes you're third. Yeah.
Half the time I'm not even playing golf. I'm just kind of fixing the golf course.
I'm still impressed by your tee shot on 18, landing it on the new dam. That was so impressive.
We'll always have that. I bet that ball's still out there. It's just,
Probably is.
we should just put a plaque out there. We do plaques for like incredible shots. We'll do one for that one. On this day,
I can't believe
Andrew
it stayed
landed
up.
on the dam.
Hey, you said I was the first one out there, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean that's
I mean,
Like
not even a
first
pro
and
could do
only.
that, right?
that's talent.
That's
Love
funny. On the fairways, what do you guys have like kind of full irrigation sort of going through? Or how do y'all kind of?
Yeah, we have full irrigation going through. We
Nice.
replaced a lot of it when we did the renovation just to update it. But yeah, we have complete renovation through the whole irrigation through the whole property.
Beautiful. All right, let's go on to greens. The brand new greens. They were definitely fun to play on. Let's see, Andrew, go ahead, man.
You know what? I will say, since I first started playing at Heritage, they've gotten so much better repairing the pitch marks. So I'd give them, 5.5. I think they're for $70-$90. I think they're pretty much average, above average a little bit. I mean, they roll so nice and they roll so fun. They're super, undulated and super quirky. And so whenever I get to see, other guys make putts, because I'm not making putts, always really fun to see how they turn and break and just go into the hole. And so I had a lot of fun on those greens out there. And, I made a couple, and so they were pretty fun. And so, slightly above average, 5.5. I might even, knock it up to a 6 because they're just so fun. Some people might not like that challenge, but to each their own, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think the undulations was a lot of fun. And okay, I think you mentioned that, in a perfect world, you give those greens probably another few months even of coming in and hardening up a little bit. So they were a little soft, and I think that leads to, again, fixing pitch marks, and that's just the reality of bent grass greens, I suppose. But I would say, based off of just the roll, and I would say just the healthiness of the greens in general. I mean, again, they're new, so they're soft. But I would say right now, this is gonna be our theme. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than Andrew here. I'm just thinking about other courses, right? I mean, I've played at courses paying $70-$75, and played on much worse greens, right? And not saying that they weren't playable. So I'm just thinking of across the board average, kind of what I've ranked other greens that I would say kind of in the similar echelon of Heritage. I would say it's definitely on the upper end. If I'm thinking Heritage, I'm thinking courses like Chapel Hills, Mirror Lake,
The Frog.
Cobblestone, the Frog, and I would say it's right up there, if not, I would say out of all those sort of courses, West Pines, their greens are just unreal right now. I might go as high as a 7, because I just think that they rolled really well. They were super healthy, consistent roll. Again, your undulation comment's perfect because it made you really think and take your time and pace it out and make sure it's all good. And I'd imagine, another season of firming up and coming in and those root systems getting stronger, it's going to even grow from there. So I'm not really totally competent when it comes to sort of grass and greens and that sort of thing. So Kevin, maybe you can shed a bit more light on, what it takes to kind of bring in new greens, what are the challenges of that, and kind of what's the outlook looking forward.
A lot of the greens on the Legacy 9, Can't drop the seed on those till February, March. So they're not 6, 7, 8 months old yet. So those greens, there you go, the 6, 7. Those greens,
I thought you did it on purpose. I swear I thought you did that on purpose.
I thought he did. I thought he was setting me up.
who knows? Who knows?
That's awesome.
It's great to see what those greens are like next spring when they have a full growing season in. In an ideal world, when you're growing in greens, you want to wait a year. You used to be able to wait a year before you put foot traffic on them. Being a public golf course, we opened some up less than 3 months. I mean, my superintendent wasn't the happiest with us, but we just had to get going. And we opened that Legacy 9 July 4th weekend, and we just did it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for about 2 months, and then we started easing more into it, control the foot traffic. But yeah, it takes time. That root system has to get going, and they're going to be great next spring. The Heritage 9, you can tell, are already a little firmer, down longer compared to Legacy. So once we get in the next summer, and the superintendent has the time, the growth's going in, and that's one thing too. A lot of people, I've always heard comments about y'all aren't doing this, you're not doing that at Heritage. But a superintendent didn't always had the money and the support to do everything. We bought him a lot of equipment. New owner first came in and said, "Hey, Andy, what do you need?" This year was the first time we fertilized what I call wall to wall with the trucks in 8 years.
Wow.
So just think about that. Those fairways, that rough, everything has not been fertilized in 8 years, wall to wall. Now we got him on a good, and we're going to be doing that twice a year. You're going to see a big difference in the presentation of the golf course, how everything grows, how quickly it recovers. And we have a great owner now who's there to support us and give us what we need.
It's awesome. Yeah, love that. And I still think my idea of forcing people to correctly fix a pitch mark in the pro shop, just get a slab of green from Tradition, right?
Yeah.
And just throw it in there and just, hey, before you go out, before you get your cart, before you can pay, you got to show us you know how to fix it. And I would be stunned if even 40% did it correctly. They might try, but I guarantee they're pulling it, pushing it, doing it back and forth, not doing it the correct way. I feel like any course that struggles with pitch marks, just do that.
Run a clinic, and then if they take the clinic, they get a discount.
Yeah,
that could work too.
We, put a video up on the GPS unit when you drive to number 1 tee. You got to watch it and click acknowledge it before you go out. Yeah, so I've had discussions about doing a little clinic and give away a small bucket of balls or something like that for it. Yeah, and just see what it will do.
Yeah,
it won't hurt.
No,
there's an idea somewhere like if you can use not real turf but have something that creates a pitch mark over and over again. I don't know how you would do that, but there's a multi-million idea somewhere in there. Someone take it, run it, and just I'll take 2%.
Figure it out. Take it to Shark Tank.
There you go. There you go. Love it. Cool. Well, let's jump into bunkers. Bunkers are fine. They were plenty of sand. I did notice on a few, maybe a slight. I think the old bunkers, again, I didn't play it, but they were more like red colored sand, and I did notice a few had a different tint a little bit, and maybe that's just the ground coming through the sand or something like that. So I mean, I'm being nitpicky, but that was one thing I noticed. Like, kind of that bunker looks like a different shade of white or pink or red or whatever it was. The edging on them, it's kind of a rugged edge, which is fine. That's aesthetics. It's obviously a choice, and that's perfectly fine by me. That's probably the most popular sort of way of doing it, because if you start really getting those tight edges, that's a whole other thing that you got to keep up with, which is annoying. So I would say the bunkers again had everything that you kind of want or need out of the bunkers. So, but I wouldn't say there were anything special about them. So, yeah, I'd say probably just above average, probably a solid 6. Somewhere in there, 6.5, somewhere in there.
I was in the bunkers a lot that day when we played, so I think they're like, yeah, 6 or or 7, just because I'm basing this off because I feel like the average golf course, when I play out of the bunker, I feel like I reach the bottom so fast and so quickly that like I've scraped my wedges so many times. And so just any bunker that has actual sand in it, and where if I hit the club, I'm not scraping concrete on the bottom, it's automatically above average, because I feel like most average golf courses, you just hit this like hard, compact sand at the bottom, or you're hitting cement for some reason. And I don't know how bunkers are exactly built, but they shouldn't be built like that. And so I thought the bunkers were great.
Nice. Yeah, your point's well taken, because yeah, I would say if you had to pick the thing at most average to above average courses that tend to go first or be a little bit neglected, it's probably the bunkers. So you're probably right. The floor, the average, is a bit lower as far as standards or expectations go. So yeah, I think I'd agree. I'd probably bump mine up to your scoring on that as well.
Kevin, can you explain why bunkers
Cool.
are like that for some golf courses?
I mean, like our old bunkering was like that. They were just old. I mean, the way they build bunkers now is totally different than what they were 20 years ago. The bottom of our new bunkers actually has concrete in it. There's a concrete called capillary concrete, is what they use, is one style of the new bunkers. So they bring it in just like you normally would see a concrete truck come in. They roll it out with a paint roller. It's a thin concrete base that has holes in it so the water can seep through the concrete. But it's called capillary concrete. That's how a lot of bunkers are built now.
Okay.
And we took away a lot of the steep slopes, so we don't have near the wash that we used to have. And the new sand we put in is the PGA Tour greatest sand. We got that. There's two main sands people use: Butler sand, which is down from Butler, about 2 hours south of Atlanta, in the PGA Tour gray. So we got both of them in, put them in the parking lot, 2 lows, went out and hit golf balls out of them, and chose which one we liked the best. That's how we decided on. That's how we decide on what sand to put in the bunkers. So,
that sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah, in our new bunkers, I really like them because they don't have the steep slope. There's some that you can actually putt out of if you feel more comfortable putting out of them, and just makes it a little easier for the public golfer again to go out and enjoy himself and not have to worry about hitting it up a 20-foot slope like you used to have to hit on Legacy number 9. I mean, we just the bunkering. I really like what we did with the bunkering just to help with the pace of play. And a lot of the sand, they're sort of like the greens. The sand needs time to settle as well. So after about a year, they're going to be a lot better.
Oh, cool.
With the sand and settling, and we'll also be able to maintain them a little bit more again by getting rid of tradition. We spend 4 or 5 hours a day just getting that golf course ready. Now that's man hours that comes back to the other 18. That's going to be able to use to keep them in better shape.
Nice.
Awesome. Perfect. Let's go to practice facilities. I didn't get to experience all the practice facilities. I was able to putt on the putting green and hit some balls on the range. I do know a big topic conversation online is the mats at Heritage. People love to complain about that, and yeah, they're tough. They're very hard. That's for sure.
It hurt my hands.
Yeah, so that day was a little chilly too, so didn't feel too great. But the putting green was nice and large. plenty of room, which I always appreciate. I like to kind of look, I'm not hitting them to 10 feet most often. I'm usually going to be 15, 20, 30, 40 feet. So having room to dial that in is nice. And it's very undulating as well. So as we mentioned previously, the greens are very undulating. So you kind of get that feel on the putting green, which is nice. And I felt from a speed perspective, it was close. It was close at least. I didn't feel like there was too much of a difference. Is there? I think there is like a sort of chipping, pitching bunker practice
Yes,
area. There is. Okay.
there he is. There's a chipping green with a bunker. That's one thing we're going to be. The chipping green actually has the old bent grass. We didn't redo that at the time of renovation, but that's something we're looking at in the future is redoing the chipping green and redoing that bunker that's over there to match all the other. We put new sand in the bunker to match what we have, but it's not completely redone. That's a future project we're looking at is for and the mats. That's something we know has to be done. But
Yeah.
it wasn't on the
Those
top of
mats-
the list with the renovating the golf course, but we are looking at that. We're going to start doing a better job of having somebody pressure wash it at least once a month just to get some pop back into it. Once you do that, if you stay on top of that, you can get a little bit more life out of it. But yeah, we know range mat has to come sooner or later.
What's the current what's y'all schedule like with hitting off grass, or how do y'all approach
Right
that?
now, we are mats Monday through Thursday, grass Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
One thing I'm hoping is prior management companies, they used to give every member. First management company I was with at Heritage, his membership gave every member unlimited range balls. Not one bucket a day, unlimited. So you could go up there and hit 1,000 range balls a day. And it just tore the tee box up. So limiting how many range balls members can get. Again, stretching out the 10-minute tee time instead of 8. We're trying to get that surface where we have less play on it. We can at least get off maybe one more day a week and hit off grass.
Okay.
Nice. Makes sense. Well, I would say, for me, again, I didn't get to mess around with the chipping green, but just the fact there is a chipping green with a bunker is always high marks, for me, because that's not the norm. I would say at most courses. So right off the bat, and yeah, we can knock off some marks for the mats, but also we got grass, right? So which is also nice because some courses you can only hit off mats, and so that's another plus I would say. So for me, I mean, if the mats were, if it was only a grass range, then that's where I'm probably pushing up to the 9 range. Since it's not just grass, so majority of the days it's going to be mats on a poor mat. I'm probably going to say 7. I think a 7, maybe 7.5 there, just because maybe bump it up to a half, just because it has the chipping in the bunker area. Awesome putting green. I think probably with the new mats coming in, it's going to take it to 8, probably 8.5. And the only thing that would make a difference if it was just, full-time grass, which, I'm trying to think of. There are a few above average courses that are only grass. So I think that's fair.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andrew?
I totally agree. I think 7.5. I do appreciate the large putting green, and I appreciate the undulation that it does, so it translates over to the course. I think so many times I've been somewhere where it's just like a flat putting green, and then you get out on the course and you're like, what's going on? Or they're completely different speeds and things like that. And so it can really help you prep for the rest of the round. But I totally agree. The mats, they destroy my hands. And so, because I'm always hitting it fat. And so it's just brutal on me. I'm just wore out before even one. And so, but I still think slightly above average practice facilities. And so I have really no complaints.
Cool.
And the putting green, we went from about a 3,500 square foot putting green to 11,000 square foot.
Whoa.
So it's huge
Oh.
compared to what we used to have. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to see people come over and just use the putting green a lot now because you have enough room. You can put a lot of people on that putting green and nobody be in the way.
Yeah. On the facility front, while we're talking about it briefly, this isn't practice facilities, but I also appreciated there's like at least what, two snack shacks kind of on the course, which I thought was unique. I mean, I can't even think off the top of my head right now of another course that has that amenity. So that was a great touch. I thought that just convenience, just nice. All right, great.
Yeah.
'Cause you're not always going to have a cart person every day, or you're not, it's timing's weird or whatever. So just having something like that I thought was a great touch. And then I thought the pro shop, restaurant, everything was solid. Everything was, I love the new logo like we talked about before. So I thought just from a overall facilities standpoint, thought Heritage was awesome. I thought it was definitely well above average, what you get at many other courses that are in a similar level, similar caliber. So yeah, appreciate just that aspect to it.
Yeah, the new ownership has spent a lot of money on those upgrades. We want your experience to be more than just the golf course. There is a food and beverage aspect of what we want to do. We went away from the beverage cart about 12 to 18 months ago and built the drink station. So pretty much on number 5 of each 9, you have a drink station. The halfway house is open. So, every hour and a half, you're going to be able to get a cocktail, get a snack. And there's a lot more we can do. You might see us start grilling out there some to have that kind of aspect. Like on Legacy 5, that one we have power out there, so we can put a hot dog roll, or we can pop in with a grill on the weekends. There's a lot of different stuff that we can incorporate into these snack shacks.
If you got some barbecue smoke just wafting around the golf course,
Oh, yeah.
there will be sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
will be sales. That's awesome. Great. Well, let's get into recommended. I think we're both a yes. I think that's obvious, for sure. So really only last little question mark, not question mark, but the ranking is overall value. So this is taking into account obviously that pricing we talked about before. High end of it at $90, I think is, I don't think it's a $90 course right now. Obviously people are paying for it, which is fine, which is great, I would say, but it's not quite a $9 course. Maybe in the future when the greens come in a little more and you guys fix up some of those aesthetics, I could definitely see it getting to that point with some of the upgrades y'all are going, and just the amount of manpower y'all can now take away from tradition and put it into the rest of the course. So excited to see it potentially get to that point. And then, and on that note, Kevin, I know when you and I spoke, we talked about the different experiences based off the price point, so for you, obviously I just covered some of the course aspects to it, but as far as someone paying $90, if you could kind of snap your fingers, how would you adjust maybe the experience to maybe make that closer, or bang on the value that they're paying for?
One thing we do now with the $90 on your weekend rate, we include range balls with that. So that's another. We include a warm-up bucket of range balls with that. So you don't have to buy range balls at Heritage when you book a primetime weekend rate. That's included. So if you take that in consideration, that's about a $10.
Yep.
It brings us down to a $80 playing fee.
Right.
Well, I started doing that about 6 months ago, because I just wanted to raise my rate a little bit, and I give you a little something for us raising it some. That's one thing we're doing. And just the overall experience at the golf course, going to the 10-minute tee times, just stretching, spending the millions of dollars on the renovation. We know we can't snap a finger and we get all that back. It takes time. We got to get the golfer back who used to play Heritage. We lost a lot of golfers. I don't blame them. Who wants to play a 6-hour round of golf? Nobody. I mean, we used to have a lot of the Midtown golfers, Brookhaven. They all go other places now. We just want to invite everybody back out to see the finished product, to see what we did with the golf carts. One thing we didn't mention is with the GPS units, when you pull up to a tee box, you get a drone flyover of every hole.
That was the coolest.
How many golf courses have that?
I
can't think of
literally
any.
I've
I
never
mean,
seen it.
name a public course that has it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Never seen it. I've never seen it.
So
It is one of the coolest. It is so cool.
it just helps with the experience of having the new golf course. Give you something to see. We're trying to do the little things to make it that value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, because that's, I've had conversation with other GMs, other courses, and there's one thing about a golf course and what the actual just strictly golf experience is going to be, and then it's the extra. Because I know I can pay 50% more actually than your $90 top fee and not get free range balls and not have tees in the cart and like
Or good
yeah,
facilities.
there's just there's a poor experience. Yeah, good facilities, good practice areas. Like there's so many things that you miss out on, even paying way more than that. And so, no, I think that's great. So I
And
think for
we're
me,
also going
all
to
this.
be adding the food and beverage aspect to the GPS come spring, where you can order beer, food. If say a hut's not a drink station is not open one day, you can order a hamburger, hot dog off the menu from your GPS. I know Andrew's in cart 44. So 15 minutes later, when it's ready and you're on number 7 now, I look at my screen, cart 44 is on 7 tee box. Cart guys can run your food, drink out there to you on the golf course. And we're going to add that. We're going to add that in the spring too, just to give you a little more of, hey, I can order a hamburger, I can order a hot dog, I can order straight off the menu and have it. And I think that's also going to help us for pace of play purposes at the turn. Because if you order on number 8 and you come into the grill and it's not quite ready yet because we're busy, you just head on back to number 10 and then I can bring it out to you. So I think that's going to circle around, more beneficial for the player to be able to order food, help us on pace of play at the turn, just add another cool little aspect to the golfing experience.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But it goes back the other way because most courses aren't dropping below, at least at this caliber, aren't dropping below $50. They're just not. It doesn't
No.
matter. Twilight, 9 holes, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So it goes the other way too, of being able to play Heritage after 3 on a weekend for $35. Yeah, maybe you only get 12, 13, 14 holes in potentially, or at least this time of year. But during the summer, you probably are getting close to 18 in, most likely. So, it goes both ways. And so for me, that's why I would give, because of that range where the average ends up being probably what, $60? It's probably somewhere
55 to 60 somewhere.
about $60. I mean, I feel like I'm getting, I'm going to give it probably again, taking into account the practice facility, the overall facilities, I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to get 8 out of 10 value. And I could definitely see next year with everything you guys are doing to get that even closer to 8.5, even pushing 9. So I think it's a great value for what you're paying. And I love the fact that you're aware of, if you pay more, you should get a little bit more. And I think that's huge. I haven't heard, there might be one other GM I've spoken with who has a similar mentality. So that's awesome. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I might. I think after doing this, I think 8 is good, but I'd even go a notch higher, I guess, as you say. 8.5. Just as myself being in the service industry, also being a general manager of at least like a restaurant. I know it's not a golf course, but knowing all the work that goes into something like this, you're personally looking at tee times and changing the pricing to make it more valuable for them, adding those free range balls for the primetime weekends. Just knowing that you care so much adds a lot of value in itself, I think. So many times, if you go to like McDonald's, they don't give a shit about you. And I feel the same way about golf courses. Being a newer golfer and also being a young person, I feel like I go to golf courses and I don't get treated the same respect as someone who's a little bit older or has been golfing for a long time or looks the part more. And every time I've been to Heritage, it's always great customer service. The people inside the clubhouse are super kind. The marshal is super kind. He talks to you and he's like, I'll get you started in about 5 minutes, just blah, blah, this and that, make small talk with you. And it's always friendly. It's never like you're a bother that you're there spending money, which that adds value in itself because I want to spend money where my money is appreciated. We all have a choice of where we want to spend our dollars, and I'm going to spend my dollars where it matters and where I feel like my dollar goes far. And that dynamic pricing, yeah, is huge. Around a $55 tee time, the course is in great condition. Maybe when I first played it a year ago, I'd only recommend it for someone if you're trying to, play for a long time and if you're really good. But filling those bunkers and making it a lot more accessible and easier for someone like me, it made it so fun. I had a great time when I played. And so I definitely give it like an 8, 8.5. And would 100% recommend it now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, cool. Well, that takes us through our rankings. Before we jump into a little bit of course history, Kevin, anything else you want to say? Yeah, just about anything, really.
No, Andrew, I really appreciate you talking about the customer service and how friendly the staff is. That's one thing that I grew up in it. Speak to everybody that walks through the door. I don't care if they speak to you or not. Sooner or later, they will. It's, that's big. That's big for me. I want everybody behind my counter to speak to you. You don't have to speak back, but we're going to speak to you, and sooner or later, we're going to break you down, and you're going to speak.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone needs to be acknowledged. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
How many times
sit
you
in
go
my
into a
office.
restaurant and you're like, what do I do? And there's no please wait to be seated or anything. That's like a big complaint. It's like people just don't know what's
Yeah.
going on sometimes.
And
so,
we want. I love seeing you people come out to Heritage. I sit in my office, which looks out to the driveway every day. Me and the owner were like, "That's somebody new. Haven't seen that one in a while." And we're starting to see that come back around, and it's great having you people get to talk to them about what we did, why we did it, and just enjoy the experience of Heritage. It's changed a lot in the past 5 to 10 years. It really has.
it's exciting.
It is. It's cool. Well, thanks, Ken. Appreciate that. Well, let's transition to a little bit of course history for the true sickos out there who love getting all the nitty gritty details about courses and what's kind of happened. So, Andrew, I know you're able to find out maybe a couple basics, but we got Kev here who's seen it all and been around for a lot of it too. So it'll be great to get some of his insights too. So what do you got, Andrew?
Well, I'll kick it off. This is pretty much all the information I've got. Is that it was originally founded in 1996 as Heritage Golf Club, designed by Mike Young. If you guys don't remember, in our first episode, Mike Young also designed the Fields Golf Club in LaGrange, Georgia. And so it just made sense why it's so quirky and so fun. But that's pretty much all the digging I could really do and find. And so I want to know more. There were a couple things. So one of the things that I noticed was that it was owned by like a celebrity athlete shortly for a little bit. And that's pretty much all I could find. But that's kind of what I want to know from you, Kevin. And then also, who owns it now and, a little bit history of the family and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, Maury White was the first owner of the golf course business. He's the one that built the course with Mike Young. The stories I've heard from Mike and other people were his buddy was building Hawks Ridge at the time. So they were battling back and forth to see who could build the hardest golf course. And Hawks Ridge is a hard golf course, and Maury built a hard golf course at Heritage. From there, I'm not sure if Dr. J owned it next or not, but Dr. J. Julius Irving did own it at one time. He owned the business. So Heritage Golf Links, the property is owned by the Burns family. They're originally from Tucker, and it's a 99-year land lease. Dr. J thought he was buying the property as well, which he was just buying a lease to the property. Supposedly he was on the tradition now, was going to build some cabins and turn it into a little private retreat for all his basketball celebrity buddies. I think he had it a little over a year, maybe 18 months, and just let it go to foreclosure. And a group out of Florida called Magnolia Hospitality bought it, and they kept it for 3 years. That's who I came to work at Heritage when they owned it. So they had it for 3 years, put a little money into it. And then after that, they flipped it to Triumph Golf out of Houston, Texas. And they had it 7 years, maybe 7, 8 years. And then Mr. Burns, the Burns family bought the property 3 years ago. The business, which they've always owned the property, bought the business, and that's who started sinking a lot of doing the renovations. Spent about $500,000 updating the clubhouse when he first bought it. The history of the property was Mr. Burns' family's property. It was farmland. So all the slopes and stuff you see, that used to be a flat piece of property before Mike Young got a hold of it.
Wow, we went
Yes.
crazy on it.
That's a lot of dirt.
It's
It was
crazy.
flat.
Oh my goodness.
So going back to who can build the hardest golf course, they moved a lot of dirt.
Oh
How
my
much
dude.
Brought a
dirt
lot
is
of dirt.
that? That is an unimaginable amount of dirt.
Dude, the Young family is like mad scientists of like golf courses, it sounds like.
You know, Mike also built Wolf Creek. Didn't know if y'all knew that or not. Mike does good work, good architect.
Countryland too.
But yeah,
and
it was
also very
a
hilly.
flat piece of property, farmland. We got pictures in our conference room of they used to water ski in the lake. Used to have a big time down there. Oh yeah. Yeah.
How big was the lake?
Bring that back.
It was a little bit bigger than what it is now. I couldn't tell you the exact acreage or what it was, but yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's the Burns family's originally they're from Tucker, well known in Tucker. So it comes back to he wants you to have the experience. You know, he almost didn't buy the business because of the reviews they saw online. You know, the 7-minute tee times, the 6-hour rounds, this and that. And the first thing he came to us and said, guys, we got a pace of play is number one. What can we do? And, well, you just go 10 minutes. So we've gone 10-minute tee times. And that's helped out a lot. Just getting back to the history of it with the tractor. When we did the renovations of the golf course behind Legacy 6 Green, we found an old tractor that was his great uncle's where they used to farm the land. We pulled it out, front in our driveway. The flagpoles is sitting right up there. We use that as an alternate logo. It's really taken off. It just speaks of, really to me, it speaks of the heritage of heritage. Now, we work with Chase on doing the drone footage. We might have something in the works coming up on the 30-year anniversary of the property. There might be a small little 30-minute movie or so. We're talking to Chase about doing some stuff with that. So that's going to be something cool that we might do. Just a great family to work for with Mr. Burns and his son Dean's on property every day. You know, just great. They speak to the customers. Y'all might have saw him that day. You wouldn't know he would be the owner of the golf course. You see him. Just a down-to-earth guy, great family to work for, spending the money to make sure the golfer has the experience and giving us what we need to run the business the way it should be ran. That's the key to me.
That's huge. Yeah. I mean, I've worked in restaurants for 10 years now, and just when you either have bad ownership or you have corporate America basically grilling you, you talked about it. You had to do 7-8 minute tee times, just squeezing out as much money as possible. When you go to the player experience or the customer experience, that's where you make true money because you get return customers. And that's where real revenue generation comes from, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you come off the golf course, you're not mad now. You might go next door and drink a beer, eat some hot wings. Before at 6 hours, 6.5, you leave. You go straight on your phone, your computer, leave a bad review. You're not going next door to spend money in food and beverage. And we're seeing record numbers in food and beverage revenue off of just pace of play, just the basic stuff of the customer service.
Basics.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. It all starts at the door. It all starts right when you come in too.
Yeah.
And so you guys are crushing it, I think.
And I think, one thing that I've always hoped for with the ATL Golfs, just company, brand, everything, is that, updating those experiences, providing objective reviews, and being able to go somewhere can trust. Because at this stage, Google reviews, if you're paying any ounce of attention, you don't put much stock in it. Like, you just shouldn't. This is just a PSA for everyone listening to this, the dozens of you. um, don't listen to Google reviews, like, or look at how long ago it was,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
just don't take the stars at face value, because um, it's like, oh, the ranger looked at me the wrong way, 1 star, but I had
Yeah.
a great time on the course. It's asinine. And one of the reasons I even started this whole thing was because I couldn't get what I was wanting from any other review system. I wanted to know, if I pay $70 to play at Heritage, am I getting a $70 experience? And there was nowhere I could go to answer that question. And so, well, started doing it myself, essentially. And so I think that that is, just a PSA for everyone, and by the way, it's not fair either. And so, hey, give Heritage another chance, and let's flip some of those Google reviews back the opposite way, and get it back to what's maybe closer to an accurate rating, at least until my website becomes the de facto spot for all Atlanta golfers. So,
Reviews.
give me some hits, give me some clicks on my website, guys, so my page ends up higher on Google search.
I had one a couple years ago, left me a bad review on Golf Now. So I got his info and I called him, just, hey, what can we do better? Well, Kevin, tell you the truth, overall it was great. This shot, he said, I shot like a 95. I was pissed off when I left. My wife called me, told me I had to go do something. But you go and just rip me a new one online, saying it was the worst experience ever, this and that. And I call you, oh, Kevin, it really wasn't that bad. Well, can you write a rebuttal? No, I don't have the time.
See,
Yeah.
oh man,
Really? I mean, you're at that point, you're messing with my business.
you
So
are.
please write a rebuttal.
Yeah, when
You know?
emotions are high, that's when you. Oh man, it's tough.
Yeah.
You got to go to the 3-4 stars and read them.
Yeah.
But
Or,
yeah, a lot of times
you
people
know,
leave 1 star with no text.
look at the last 6 months, not the last 4 years. I mean, that's another. I get calls. Hey, I see your reviews are something like a 3.4. Well, go look at my last 4 months since we opened Legacy and look at them. They're a lot higher than a 3.4. They're all 4 and 5 stars. You get that one customer every now and then who's just that one customer.
I'm just mad at the
But
world.
overall, the last 6 to 9 months, our reviews are really good. The pace of play is better. The golf course is better. Their experience is better. Heritage is 30 years old now. So you have reviews that are 15 years old. It's not the same golf course. It's not the same experience.
Oh, makes sense. Well, cool. Well, hopefully this can play a part. I'll be having my own sort of posted course review coming out alongside this podcast as well. And so hopefully that will get some traction and change some, or just get people to rethink and revisit, and, give themselves an updated view of what Heritage is and what it can be, and where it's going. And hey, that's the whole point of this whole thing. So, Kevin,
Sir.
thank you so much for joining us, man. Looking forward to doing more things in the future. And yeah, just really grateful for your mindset, your heart towards golf and your golf course, and where it's going. So, Andrew, anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, thank you, Kevin. I think this conversation is exactly what Heritage needs right now for the people to know. Hopefully we can blast it out, and more people can hear about it, and you sickos can start playing at Heritage.
That's right.
Look forward to having everybody. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Yeah.
you guys coming out and playing and taking the time to do this.
Of course.
All right, folks, welcome to our next segment where we break down the hardest hole on the golf course. We don't have a name for this segment, so if you have a good one, something clever, let us know. And for this one, it's going to be Legacy Hole 4. So let's go ahead and give you kind of a picture of the actual hole itself. So it is over 400-yard par 4. It starts off with a tee shot that goes uphill over a hazard and then makes its way from right to left. There's a hill on the right-hand side. So if you hit a tee ball straight away and end up on that hill, it should kick down a little bit lower. And then as you get closer to the green is actually perched up. So it kind of goes uphill, and then your next shot tends to be uphill as well. You have a bunker on the right and a bunker on the left. Long of the green, everything drops away. Left of the green, everything drops away, although there's a little extra room. Right of the green, there's that bunker, and then really trees come into play pretty quickly. So that approach shot is difficult as well. So if we start off from the tee box, you're going to have probably a solid 200-yard carry over the hazard. It is from the back tees, it's going to be probably closer, playing probably closer to 210, 215, even a strong carry. And then you're wanting to hit a right to left draw if you're a right-handed hitter, fade if you're a left-handed hitter. And that's not the easiest thing for most of us right-handed hitters. For me personally, ended up duck hooking it into the hazard, but was able to find it and pitch out. And then from there, it's really all about the approach and mitigating disaster. And so, like I mentioned before, that green, while it's not super intimidating, there's a lot of danger if you get too far away. So if you're too far right, you're in the trees. If you're too far long, it's going to probably bound down into the trees. And if you're left, things start to drop away as well. But there's a little extra room left where you could still save par and get up and down if you end up pulling it a little bit to the left. The bunkers are pretty deep, but they're pretty forgiving, I would say, overall. And the actual green itself runs from back to front. I know when we played it, the pin was at the back as well, so we had a pretty significant swooping putt if you were pin high right or left of the hole. So really the best tip here I can give you is make sure that you have something that's obviously going to get over the hazard. That's going to be job number one, get over that hazard. Job number two is to, on your approach shot, at worst, leave something a little bit short. You're not going to want to go long in any direction. If you leave a little bit short, you're going to have yourself an uphill chip and give yourself a really good look at getting up and down for par. Worst case, a 2-putt bogey. Andrew, anything you want to add to that?
My suggestion basically as a 20+ handicap is play the tees you're supposed to. Playing back from the blues with those guys was tough already. I got lucky. I ended up hitting like a nice little fade and it bounced off that right hill. But yeah, don't be long, and you want to hit it short so you know it's a big green, so you have plenty of green to work with. But hitting it long, it's that green just dips all the way back down, and it's brutal to beat down there. And so yeah, pretty much just hit a straight ball, play the tees you're supposed to be at, and when you're approaching the green, short is better than long.
Beauty. All right, guys, just a couple things I want to clue you in on as we head into the end of the year. We'll have the next newsletter coming out on Monday, December 1st, which is the Monday right after Thanksgiving. So be on the lookout for that. Please, please, please refer your friends, and let's continue growing that newsletter. I'll be announcing the referral prizes soon, in contact or in talks with a few different courses and businesses right now for those referral prizes, but we'll definitely have some locked and loaded. And then a little sneak peek. This is only for the ears of the podcast listeners, but I'm working on an ATL Golfs pass. And essentially what it's going to provide is a 20% discount at hopefully 20 different courses around Metro Atlanta, of courses that I recommend. And so this will hopefully do two things. One, give you a lot of confidence that you're going to a course you will enjoy if you drive that 45 or maybe an hour. And you're going to save 20%. So maybe that's the gas money taken care of or a little extra off the top of that greens fee. And it's all about encouraging golfers to go try out new courses they normally wouldn't try out. And so I'm excited about that. We're close. We're coming up on probably 12 to 15 courses. And so we'll be announcing that soon and launching that out maybe for Black Friday, but probably just in time for Christmas. So just be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I'm really excited about that opportunity to encourage more golfers to go try out new courses. So thank you all for your support and making cool ideas like this actually be something that can happen. And yeah, let me know if you have any suggestions or ideas as well. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this segment of the ATL Golfs podcast where we hear from you guys. Last episode, we asked everyone, what is the craziest person or moment you've had on the golf course? We had 2 entries for a giveaway of an hour of free bay time at Green Office Golf. Out of the 2, I think this one really stood out to me. I was visibly and, just mentally shocked when I heard this one for the first time. So let's take a listen to this.
The most craziest pairing that I had was about a month ago when I went to Cobblestone. I actually got paired up with a woman. She must have been like in her late 40s. I'm not 100% sure. the round was good. We had a great time until I found out at the very end that her intentions was not necessarily to play a round of golf, even though that's exactly what we did. Her intentions was to give away the golf clubs of her divorced husband. She was apparently doing it out of spite, and she basically wanted to find a way to give it away to someone that would use them. Um, I actually declined because I had just purchased some brand new clubs, and quite honestly, I was a little bit intimidated, and I didn't really kind of feel comfortable taking clubs from her divorced husband. Um, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Especially me being kind of brand new to golf, that definitely caught me as a shocker. Um, but yeah, that's my crazy little story there.
I think that's absolutely insane. If I was Sergio, I definitely would have taken those clubs. I love clubs, and it's just something about me as a man. I think I love just shiny pieces of metal. That one definitely stood out to me, though. It had me in the first half. I was really kind of apprehensive when he started off. It was a woman, and then her intentions were not to play golf. Really had me in the first half. So yeah, Sergio, you have won yourself a free hour of golf at Green Office Golf. Thank you again to CM for willing to offer that. But the question of this episode that I want to ask is, what do you think the perfect handicap is? I'm opinionated myself. I think higher is better than lower. But we want to hear from you guys. So you have a minute and a half. The website is speakpipe.com/ATL Golfs. Let me know what you think the perfect handicap is. Thanks, guys.
Well, Andrew, that was an awesome episode, man. Thanks again for all your work in organizing this and making it happen. How do you think it went?
I think we're just getting better and better. We're finding our groove. And we're also, like, the guests have been awesome. I think Kayla was awesome. Scott was awesome. Just everyone we've had on has been great. Andy. And so, connecting with these guys and getting more insight has always been really nice. And just seeing the passion behind a lot of these guys, like Kevin, was really great to see how much he cares about the business, but also just the customers in itself. And so I'm really enjoying it. This has been really fun. It's a big passion project right now. And just want to say I appreciate everyone that's listening and commenting and just showing support all the time, week to week. So yeah, keep sharing it with your friends. Subscribe, comment, like. Let us know if you want more content, more episodes. We'll try to work harder. It is a lot of work, but it's definitely enjoyable and rewarding when we hear back from you guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone. That concludes episode 5.
Cinco. Pretty
Episode
much.
5. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all, ATL Golf fam. And until next time, peace.
See ya. Thank you guys so much for listening.